When shame turns into rage, witnessing the madness inside a narcissist's mind. The world of narcissism is a labyrinth, dark, deceptive, and hypnotic, and at its core lies one of its most volatile forces, the shame-rage spiral. Psychologists often describe this as the moment when the narcissist's carefully constructed mask begins to fracture, revealing a wounded self that cannot bear to be seen. Beneath the arrogance, the manipulation, and the charm, there is an unbearable shame, one so suffocating that it ignites into fury the moment it's touched. In a 2015 study from Iowa State University, researchers Creason and Johar explored this psychological storm with chilling precision. They dissected how narcissistic rage manifests differently in grandiose and vulnerable narcissists, yet always returns to the same origin point: shame. The more fragile the narcissist's ego, the more explosive the reaction when it's threatened. This endless loop, known as the shame-rage spiral, becomes both their prison and their weapon. Psychoanalyst Heinz Kohut, a pioneer in narcissistic theory, once described narcissists as revenge-driven souls desperate to reclaim control over any situation that exposes their imperfections. It's not about truth for them, it's about domination. When someone dares to challenge their narrative, the narcissist's world implodes. They can't tolerate contradiction because their entire identity rests on illusion. To protect that illusion, they resort to gaslighting, a manipulative defense mechanism designed to rewrite your reality until you doubt your own memory, feelings, and sanity. From a psychological standpoint, what's happening here is a crisis of identity. As Dr. June Tangney, a leading researcher on shame, explains, shame strikes at the core of the self. It doesn't say, "I did something wrong," but rather, "I am wrong." For most people, shame can be managed through self-reflection and empathy. But for narcissists, it's intolerable. Their entire false self was built to avoid that exact feeling. So, when shame surfaces, maybe you outshine them, confront them, or simply stop feeding their ego, their psyche erupts. Rage becomes their escape hatch. Picture this moment. You gently question something they said, and their eyes darken. You feel it before you even hear it, that shift in energy, that sudden coldness in their tone. The narcissist's internal alarm has gone off. You've stepped too close to their buried shame. Within seconds, they're no longer the charming person you know. They're defensive, cruel, cutting. Psychologists describe this as narcissistic injury, a perceived humiliation that activates primal survival instincts. To them, rage feels like power. To you, it feels like emotional warfare. But not all rage looks the same. Dr. Rourke and other clinicians studying narcissistic behavior note that covert narcissists often channel this shame into quiet vengeance. Instead of an explosive outburst, they retreat into manipulation. Silent treatments, subtle sabotage, passive-aggressive remarks. They won't scream, but they'll make sure you feel the chill of their resentment. Their goal remains the same: to regain control and project their unbearable shame onto you. This pattern creates what psychologists call projective identification. The narcissist unconsciously forces their unwanted feelings into others, making the victim carry the emotional weight they refuse to face. You start feeling guilty, anxious, even responsible for their moods. The shame becomes yours, and the narcissist walks away momentarily lighter. But the price is your peace of mind. And so, the cycle continues. Shame triggers rage. Rage brings more shame. Shame demands more rage. It's a self-consuming loop that isolates the narcissist from any genuine connection. People begin to fear their temper, their cruelty, their volatility. But the narcissist, rather than introspecting, doubles down on their defenses. As Dr. Ramani Durvasula explains, narcissists don't process shame, they outsource it. They blame, deflect, and attack anything to avoid feeling small. Understanding this dynamic is crucial for survivors. When you recognize that the narcissist's rage is rooted not in your actions but in their own self-loathing, you begin to reclaim power. Psychologists recommend emotional detachment and boundary reinforcement as first steps. This means resisting the urge to explain yourself, argue, or fix their perception. You can't heal a person whose identity depends on your submission. Healing from this cycle involves turning inward, towards self-compassion. the antidote to shame. Therapy can help survivors unpack the internalized blame that narcissists leave behind. Dr. Kristen Neff's research on self-compassion emphasizes the importance of acknowledging your suffering without judgment, rebuilding the parts of you that were taught to absorb someone else's shame. Because here's the truth: the narcissist's rage is not a reflection of your worth. It's a mirror of their own fractured soul. And while they remain trapped in that spiral, you have the power to step out, to replace their chaos with clarity, their manipulation with mindfulness, and their shame with self-acceptance. At the heart of every narcissist's existence lies a secret terror, the unbearable fear of being seen for who they truly are. Psychologists describe this as narcissistic fragility, the constant anxiety that someone might pierce through their polished facade and expose the emptiness underneath. When that fear is triggered, it ignites the shame that narcissists spend their entire lives running from. And that's when the rage explodes. Sudden, unpredictable, and devastating. Living with such a person feels like tiptoeing through a minefield. Survivors of narcissistic relationships often say they feel like they're walking on eggshells, constantly scanning for emotional danger. Clinical psychologist Dr. Ramani Durvasula explains that this hypervigilance stems from chronic exposure to emotional unpredictability, when love and wrath coexist in the same person. What you're really avoiding isn't anger itself, but the moment that triggers their shame, because once it surfaces, it mutates into rage. This makes a healthy, stable relationship with a narcissist nearly impossible. You never know which innocent remark, which small success, or which honest truth will set off the explosion. For the narcissist, anything can become an insult to their fragile ego. Forgetting to praise them, rejecting their offer to help, outperforming them, or even simply having a good day can spark fury. Psychologist Dr. Les Carter notes that narcissistic rage often arises from micro-injuries, seemingly trivial moments that puncture their sense of superiority. It's not about the event itself, but the story it tells them internally. I'm not good enough. Imagine a narcissist watching their partner succeed at work while they feel stagnant. That single moment of comparison awakens the shame they cannot tolerate. They might lash out, belittle the achievement, or start an argument out of nowhere. Their mind goes into defense mode, twisting the narrative to protect their ego. The rage isn't really about you. It's a frantic effort to silence the voice inside them whispering, "You're not special anymore." Psychologists like Dr. Helen Block Lewis have described shame as the master emotion behind rage. When unprocessed shame festers, it transforms into aggression, blame, or vindictiveness. The narcissist, unable to regulate their emotions, projects the shame outward, making others feel what they cannot face. This process is known as projective identification, a mechanism where the narcissist unconsciously plants their unbearable feelings into someone else, forcing the other person to carry them. That's why you end up feeling guilty, inadequate, or anxious for reasons that make no logical sense. You're absorbing their shame, and the spiral doesn't stop there. Every outburst, every cruel word, every tantrum fuels more shame. After the rage subsides, many narcissists experience a fleeting remorse, not because they empathize, but because they feel exposed. To regain control, they'll offer a fragile apology, hoping to reset the dynamic. But if you don't accept it immediately, if you set a boundary or call out the behavior, the shame flares up again, and the cycle restarts. Psychologists refer to this as the shame-rage feedback loop, an endless loop of humiliation, rage, and further humiliation. For the victim, this creates a psychological prison. You learn to predict moods, censor yourself, and suppress your needs just to keep the peace. Over time, this erodes your sense of identity, a phenomenon trauma therapists call fawning or self-erasure. You begin to believe that keeping them calm is your responsibility. But as psychologist Dr. Gabor Mate reminds us, you can't regulate another person's wound. No matter how gentle or loving you are, you can't protect a narcissist from their own shame. Therapists who work with narcissistic clients often describe the process as emotionally grueling. As one clinician put it, you spend hours trying to convince them they're still worthy even when they fail. But the moment therapy gets too real, When the spotlight turns toward their shame, they often bolt. Denial, deflection, and rage are their preferred anesthetics. Healing requires vulnerability, and vulnerability is their greatest fear. For those entangled with narcissists, trying to fix them is like trying to calm a hurricane with reason. You can't outlove a wound that was born in childhood and hardened over decades. Most psychologists agree that sustainable recovery for a narcissist requires long-term therapy, deep self-awareness, and genuine accountability. 3 things they often resist. As Dr. Craig Malkin, author of Rethinking Narcissism, points out, change is possible, but it requires the narcissist to confront the very shame they've built their life to avoid. This is why your compassion must have limits. Empathy without boundaries turns into self-destruction. While understanding the narcissist's pain can help you detach emotionally, to see their rage as a symptom rather than a personal attack, it's vital to protect your mental and emotional space. Trauma experts recommend strategies such as gray rocking, minimizing emotional responses, no-contact boundaries, or trauma-informed therapy to rebuild your sense of self. At its core, the shame-rage spiral is a tragedy, not just for the narcissist, but for the people they hurt. Both the abuser and the victim are often products of the same early emotional deprivation. The belief that love must be earned, perfection must be performed, and mistakes must be hidden. Psychologists emphasize that shame is rarely born in adulthood. It's inherited through generations of conditional love. Until we teach children that their worth is not tied to performance, this cycle of shame and rage will continue to echo across families, relationships, and society. So, if you find yourself caught in the storm, remember this. It's not your fault, and it's not your job to heal the narcissist. What you can do is heal yourself. Learn to recognize the signs, refuse to internalize their projections, and reclaim the self-worth that their chaos once eclipsed. And maybe that's where true healing begins, not by trying to quiet their rage, but by silencing the shame that no longer belongs to you.